Anyways, my Prueism for this week is freedom of association. In the U.S. Bill of Rights is a series of limitations on the power of the U.S. federal government protecting the natural rights of liberty and property, including freedom of religion, freedom of speech, a free press, free assembly, and free association, as well as the right to keep and bear arms. Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the fundamental freedoms are freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of thought, freedom of belief, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. Now, this freedom gives a person the freedom to join or not join a political party, the freedom to associate or not associate with whomever they want, such as a community organization, clubs, etc. Also, this freedom gave people the right of association with regard to unions, which they were free to join or start a union where they are employed. Now, did you notice I didn't use the words or not join? Some states in the U.S. are a right to work, which means a person can be employed at a company but does not have to join a union. Other states do not have this freedom, and neither does Canada. If I want to work for a company or government department and they are unionized, then I must join the union to be able to work. I have the freedom of association, except for in union environments. At one time, unions were there for the protection of workers, ensuring a safe work environment, employers not abusing the workers, such as forcing them to work overtime, etc. Unions no longer truly serve this function anymore, as government have now set work standards and employers can be fined for not ensuring that workers have a safe working environment. Now, unions are basically there for the union elite and ensuring that their pockets are kept full and the power that they yield must be intoxicating to them. Unions can make or break a political party depending on whether the party of the choice is doing what the unions want. Unions spend millions upon millions of advertising dollars to ensure that the party of their choice is the governing party. A good majority of the union members have absolutely no say in where their union dues are spent, which they are forced to pay unless they are lucky to be in a right-to-work state. Defy a union and see their wrath. How many union members agree to items only because they fear union's actions, such as not getting enough work, ostracized, or threatened by other union members, especially when the employer is the only game in town for an employee to use a particular set of skills? Unions will demand their right to association, but don't hold the opposite true, where someone should be able to not join association or union to be able to be employed. It's time to take back this freedom of association to what it was initially intended for, and that's my Prueism for the week.
Very nice.
You know, and we have that situation up here in Canada too. And
So you're... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay. You remember hearing in the news when a bunch of union states were pretty much demanding that daycare ladies be unionized, which makes no sense because they work out of the home, literally.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that my Senate, the person running for Senate in Minnesota, Kurt Bills, you can find him at Kurt Bills. It's Bills. It's weird. I don't know. His wife's a daycare lady. He's a teacher, so he's already unionized. Well,
okay.
When they were starting to go after his wife, he apparently got really pissed. And it's that sort of stuff that really brings that sort of message home.
I know, it's just, they go in and everything's got to be unionized, but I don't know where it got to the point where you went in and you had to join a union. You know, I can understand a lot of cases where a union is really required because the employer, you know, wasn't paying attention to the work standards, the safety, ensuring that people knew how to use equipment before they just put them on and stuff like that. But now you've got them going in on stuff that there's no right for them to be there, or forcing you that you have to join them to be employed.
I don't think anyone can argue that unions weren't important 100 years ago and vital and necessary to fight for workers' safety, etc. I don't think anybody can argue that the origins of unions probably also, were very socialist at the same time. But given that, we're 100 years down the road. The government has been structured in such a way that it sort of takes care of a lot of those functions that unions would do in agitating for better conditions and so forth. Now it's all about how much they can get paid, how long they have to work. That's a completely different mindset than from making sure that you're working on machines that have been maintained properly so that your arm doesn't get chewed up by the machine.
Yeah.
That's different.
And we still have those cases where companies are being fined up here because they basically they're not teaching their employees, especially the young ones, on the proper safety of using equipment. They just sit there and put them on.
I don't know if I entirely buy that, because if you're going to work for a company that historically is crap, well, then you know what you're getting into. And obviously you're, on hard times because you're willingly working for crap. I just don't. There are so few reasons to have unions these days because people work better as an individual. They realize that, well, if I have a problem with my boss, I'm going to tell my boss. They don't need someone hand-holding.